Trying to sneak in intimate contact through something that somebody might not understand is natural groomer behavior. It's creepy. He literally groomed this chick into accepting his paraphilia. I know she's an adult, but that's still a literal thing you can do. Is get somebody basically unawares used to behavior that they don't understand is inappropriate. That's the point of grooming. That's why it's bad. Xanderhal is a guy on the internet. Xanderhal is a dude, I liked his content a lot like a year or so ago. Another person that was really in their element, I think, when they were engaged in a lot of debates, when they had a lot of conversations, when they kind of deflected the attention away from their personality onto the issues. I think Xanderhal really shone. And over the last year, especially like 3 or 4 months ago when he hit a real slump, like an extreme slump, Xanderhal stuff has been kind of falling off. I think it comes with being a Vosh orbiter and Vosh slowly but surely destroying the creativity economy of his area. Like Vosh is basically a natural resource to the people who orbit him, right? Because when you're a Vosh orbiter, you get points by basically agreeing with Vosh. People say Vosh got into a conflict. I want to see this person agree with Vosh, which is why like I'm not an orbiter. That's why I can't really be an orbiter. I guess maybe I could be at most a hate watcher for somebody, but I also won't just naturally give negative commentary on everything. It just so happens that a lot of the commentary right now is negative because of how the guy's been acting. But along with that, because Vosh has been doing less debates, because Vosh has been entertaining less video soluble content, so to say, you know, like talking to the person who's making the video about him, talking to this person, arguing this, arguing that, because that has gone down, the economy around him of people who are like, I cover Vosh shit positively, they have been they have been suffering a drought, which is kind of evident, I think, in the you know, when you look at other people that used to follow him and cover all of the shit he was doing, even if he goes to somebody like Keffels, who I think maybe thinks she's not an orbiter, but unfortunately kind of fucking is, swinging between multiple planets, so to say. With all that said, it seems like Xanderhal entertained going into a few different directions as of several months ago. Basically like half a year ago when I started doing more, when I was really starting to pick up my stride and approaching like my 1,000 subs, I started covering a little bit of Xanderhal stuff. And to cover President Sunday, he got into an argument with President Sunday over the just most middling shit, I think, because Xanderhal was getting involved with a lot of like drama YouTubers, and they have a certain way of maintaining their own economy, which is being gossips and scolds. Literally, they just gossip about each other, they scold each other, and they try to like blackmail and extort each other for information. It's a slimy economy. I'm not going to begrudge them their way of making money. It is what it is. But it's just a very obvious thing, and it is a thing that is kind of a one-way road. I think maybe Xanderhal caught himself before going down in that direction, and so now for the last several months, I've seen him kind of be stuck in a neutral swale of a fucking like non-content cycle, a doldrum, so to say, not a swale. Where he's kind of just been playing video games. He's been just giving whatever, the most basic lefty take on any issue that pops up, this, that, and the other, which is fine. However, he also apparently came out on Chuggaconroy's side in the first half of the foot guy debates, basically, which I think was like 2 months ago or something. And when Chuggaconroy released his foot manifesto... Xanderhal decided to check the footnotes and check. He decided to toe the line, so to say, for Chuggaconroy. I'm being a little big said. I'm trying to force the puns, but that's not necessarily bad. But I heard the way that he was talking about it, and it goes into one of the things that was almost like Xanderhal's kind of based from a year ago, and then somehow it ended up shooting him in the foot because it's one of those things you can't base your entire reality around. Lest you fuck up. And that was his like, I can't miss, I never miss, I predict everything correctly, which is a dangerous road to go down if you're being serious, because nobody gets 100% predictions correct. It's a bad habit to start doing that stuff too, because you will eventually maybe trick yourself into thinking you're right about something you're wrong about in order to kind of keep the streak up. You know what I mean? And so I heard him doing some of that language in regard to this. Now, this video is an hour and a half long, so I don't think we're going to get quite to everything. Xander jumped to Chugga's defense feet first. Shut the fuck up. I don't think we're going to get to everything, but I just want to hear some of the basics of his stuff. I really don't need to go over the entire him reading it. I just kind of want to get to his thesis and stuff and see what he's talking about. So without further ado, take it away, Xanderhal. I'm going to rewind back through this little bit at the beginning, and here we go.
Alright everybody, so we're actually going to be revisiting a story that I last covered, gosh, maybe like 4 months ago now. It's been a while at this point. You may be familiar with a very large YouTuber who's beloved by many, one of those OG been around forever YouTubers named Chuggaconroy.
Using a magic 8-ball on stream to determine what side of drama you're going to be on would be a funny bit. That actually would be hilarious if I just debate Nega Tyler. I just keep hitting the Luma key and dropping in between us to cover something. Would actually maybe be pretty fucking hilarious. We just have to flip a coin. It's a shake an 8-ball at the beginning. So before I even hop into this, I gotta say, this is the grimiest room. I don't know why he set stuff up like this, and if I was him, I would have just, you can put your desk, like even my desk isn't all the way against my wall so it can accommodate my lights. This has so much fucking space in it, and it looks so weird back here, and it is such an ugly, this is, everybody who grew up like mildly religious has been in this basement before for some shitty fucking kids party where everyone was freaked out about you spilling shit on the carpet, and yet they had a shaky ass, one of those brown pleather tables, like folding card tables from back in the 90s. That whole shaken ass thing was just covered in sheet cake and 2 liters and fucking like cheap ass local pizza. Like you've been in this downstairs room. If I found out that this was like some sort of like shitty little old like 1-room Baptist fucking church that's on a suburban street, it's got a sign in the front still that says like John Davies Ministries EST 1998. I would not be surprised at all. These is just what those basements look like. It's miserable. Just spin this fucking desk. I know that I'm circling my screen here. I know that your desk is here. Just circle the desk so that the front's here, the back's here, and just put like fucking cloth on the wall, and you'll get rid of the deeply unsettling nature of the rest of the back of this area that looks like you would, the previous occupant chained people up down here for years at a time type deal. You know what I mean? Yes, that is a Christian youth group basement. Yeah. There has been so many like lightly over like bad touch trust falls that happened in this fucking area.
He got in quite a bit of trouble a few months back because he was outed, or allegedly outed, by multiple women with accusations of being a creepo. And they all put out their own, well, not all of them, but there was like a constant reference to more women with allegations that just were never made public from the parties that did make this public. But the stories that were made public were substantiated with what seemed like, to me at the time, and I got some pushback from my fans for suggesting this, the evidence that I saw suggested less so that Chuggaconroy was some kind of predator or weirdo, and more so like Chuggaconroy was being actively led on. And the reason why the parties upset at Chuggaconroy were upset was not because they had their boundaries crossed over or were creeped out or felt like they needed to call out a potential future predator to protect others, but instead were upset that he did not, like, handle the being led on how they would have preferred for him to. I genuinely, I didn't really detect any predatory behavior there, and I said as much to a small amount of pushback in my chat. Most people, upon seeing what I was seeing, agreed, And so I have to admit, I'm feeling a little bit, a little bit justified here, a little bit exonerated, a little, whatever the word for it is.
I don't know why he's
a
feeling
little bit
exonerated.
satisfied with the fact that I've been seemingly proven right. Chuggaconroy just yesterday put out a big document in response to the allegations just a few months later.
I feel like when you base your existence around like being right as opposed to putting the best foot forward, you know what I mean? Like I don't think I'm right about stuff a lot, but you know, kind of statistically speaking, you will be. It's better to not base your life around it, because like you're more than likely right, because it's kind of hard to be wrong about shit if you just notice it, but eventually you will be. You know what I mean? And I think this kind of like basing your life around dubs and wins and being correct will put you in a position where you get maybe just a little dub thirsty, which is kind of what this sounds like. It sounded like that when they were getting into the fucking President Sunday shit as well. It just had an issue of that, of like, I know I'm right because I have to be right because I've been right about other things. And I think a lot of that also comes down to my man has like quite literally been the subject of multiple actual sexual witch hunts, like where he was called a sex pest with literally no fucking evidence. I think on Xanderhal's behalf, I've seen all of the stuff that came out against him, and it was the most nothing burger, or like literally lefties just saying like, well, it just feels like it should be wrong, and describing activity that we're like 100% cool with. Like this is a man who has been so fucking plastered with false allegations that like he probably thinks he might not, even if he thinks it like intellectually, probably has internalized the possibility that like you can be like it's common, you know, to be accused of sexual impropriety by people when that's not the case. You know what I mean? There is nothing in the Chuggaconroy. If you want to see my full coverage of Chuggaconroy stuff, this part 2 of it's going to be coming out soon. I think I'm going to put that video together and then drop it, basically. But it is almost incontrovertible, I believe, that he is weird as fuck in a bad way, weird as fuck to women, weird as fuck to people in his life. And that he engages pretty actively in gaslighting behavior. You know what I mean? Like to the point where you can see him writing literal contradictions into his own statement. Like it's not even me taking someone else's word. I can ignore everything that Lady Emily had to say about it at this point, because Chuggaconroy's own words on the situation are so fucking weird and sus and self-contradictory that I'm just like, yeah, man, do you not know that you shouldn't be around people very often? Like you need, if you need a fucking wrangler, because you are either a literal baby-brained, slop-skulled child that cannot comprehend the most basic aspects of navigating the world. Like you have the mentality, which I don't think is impossible, because like that, I don't think that brand of autism exists. I know people are like, he's autistic, Tyler's doing autism. No, motherfucker. I technically, I guess I have it. I'm not going to say that that's fucking what, I don't care. It's not debilitating to me, but I have so many people that I talk to that have autism that lead normal ass lives. It's a spectrum, right? And the vast majority of people who can operate in day-to-day society can, even though they have some difficulty, still understand the society. It's not like you're leaving your house and everything's fucking backwards day all the time, and like every conversation you have with a person is a hyper complex like series of like, okay, every 3 seconds you have to make one of two decisions, and it's going to be a coin flip on whether or not one of them is raping the person, like, or sexually assaulting them. Like that, no one has ever described autism to me like that or made that excuse except for Chuggaconroy and Autism Speaks, the organization that makes it, that is basically a eugenics fucking like we should exterminate the autism gene through selective breeding. Like, it's him and them. Whereas everyone else I've talked to is like, I have serious issues. And like every other person on earth with a disability that learns how to deal with the world, I have created or have somebody has helped teach me, or maybe sometimes I don't have yet, but I understand I need different little bits of this and that, little assistive aids to work in addition to my handicap that I have in interpersonal communication. But like Chuggaconroy's entire thing boiled down is literally my mental illness excuses me. Women are every woman in this story was acting badly and not being straightforward enough with me for me to understand that I was being sexually inappropriate. One of the women is not a woman. It is a literal child, a 14-year-old girl. And that's a whole fucking... I'll just go and read the story. And not a single thing in it, not a fucking thing in it suggests that there is a uniform aspect of his life that conforms to any one of the excuses he gave during the story. It just seems like he has an excuse for each individual fact, but some of them are hyper contradictory. And they go against each other in a crazy way. I would have this conversation. Xanderhal, if you see this video and you want to have this conversation, hit me up. I'm only 2 seconds into your video. If you want to just explain it to me, we can. That's fine. But otherwise, I'm gonna listen to you talk your way through it.
After they came out, and the consensus has been that Chuggaconroy was innocent and has cleared his name. I have not seen or read any of this whatsoever yet, though. I've only heard about it from people who have read it, from my friends and stuff, but I've not seen it myself, so I do want to give it a good read. I tried to copy and paste this text into a text-to-speech reader because it's going to be so much, and I'm going to have problems with it eventually.
But Tyler, he has the good doctor disease, meaning he's a literal alien to human society. Yeah. Savant alien. He's actually just a little magic person that from Mars that doesn't understand that he's small bean. He's small bean giga genius, and he just needs to be led by the hand from place to place so that he can work his magic and disappear back into the ether.
But no dice. He said it so you cannot copy the text and paste it elsewhere. Nightmare. Let's start. Hey everybody, it has been a long time since I last shared anything with you, but I now feel ready to give an update on how I've been doing and clear up speculation on some incidents that have been brought up since my last message. Whenever things blow up online, people make a lot of incorrect assumptions based on not knowing the full story, and often assume the worst possible context. I would like to start by clearing up these misconceptions. I haven't wanted to reveal information about others, but I think at this point it's best that everything is out in the open. I have removed irrelevant personal information as I only want to say as much as I need to in order to set the record straight.
Bye.
Please do not bother anybody I name here. I do not want others to experience what I went through. I have already asked that people not harass my accusers, and it is disappointing to see this ignored or not respected. I truly don't want anybody to be attacked over this. I'd say at this point, that's quite believable. I'd say in his position, he probably, on both ends, just wants this to be over and not, a thing that's going on anymore. One of the rough...
Well, I mean... Yeah.
Things about being an internet creator who has, let's say Chuggaconroy did legitimately do something wrong here, but it wasn't, a malicious, bad, character-defining thing. It was more of just an honest mistake that wouldn't happen again. It is not character-defining. It feels as though when you're a content creator, the worst part of that kind of thing, when you do something like that, is that long after all associated and aggrieved parties have gotten over it and forgotten about it, random people online who are just spectators remember, hold on to it, and then they keep bringing it up and having discourse about it, and so nothing is ever allowed to really be in your past when you're an online creator.
So this is another thing where people need to get offline and read books and experience lives outside of the ones that exist in their own shoes. You're not this is an aspect of Nathaniel Hawthorne's notable novel from the fucking 1700s, early 1800s, whatever. The Scarlet Letter covered this. You know what I mean? Public shame has been an aspect of humankind for forever. Immortalized at one point in the movie. God damn it. What is that called? Superbad. When Jonah Hill's character is talking about somebody else puking or whatever, pissing his pants in 5th grade. People don't forget. It's not an aspect of anything unique to the internet. You don't need to have a special awareness. This comes with people knowing who the fuck you are and you having a reputation. What you're describing is just reputations, right? And people get accused of crazy shit all the time. the fact of just getting older is that your reputation is going to be negatively affected. Eventually, if I stay on here long enough, somebody's going to say something about me, or I'll make a mistake in the way that I talk, or something will happen where, you know, it'll become a thing where people are like, Tyler this, Tyler that, Tyler that, blah, 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 blah. The cannibalism accusations. Which is still just funny to me as a horror creator. And the thing is you can mitigate a lot of that by just responding to shit correctly, and also by just not responding to shit correctly and ignoring it. Like, the Paul brothers have done the most insane, egregious, cringe shit. Again, I can't even keep all of their fucking sins together. But that is the thing. They just stop talking about it. They just don't give a fuck. And when people bring it up, they don't freak out and write manifestos about it because they're trying to massage their reputation. They just say, I don't give a shit, and they do new stuff. I think the problem with, especially somebody like Chugga in this thing, or like I said, he does not respond to the allegations in any way, shape, or form that makes me feel like he's innocent of fucking anything. I won't get into that 1,000 times again, hopefully, but like, just letting shit go and doing new stuff so people can look at your new stuff is very, very important. You know, everybody has had accusations. Some people in Hollywood have like murdered people. The world moves on. Just move past getting accused of stuff and do more interesting shit. I think the problem for Xanderhal specifically is that, and I think this is the issue with everybody, literally everybody that's ever accidentally fucking swept themselves into the Vosh orbit, is on other orbiters will help massage your reputation, or will like talk to you in a way, or talk about you in a way, like after the interest in your negative, the negative aspect of whatever the fuck's happening to you is gone. They'll still talk to you. Like, there's tons of people I've seen go back on Destiny. I was like, I fucking forgot this person existed. And I know that they've been through shit. And so they get to get out and be ahead of whatever the fuck that they were on, and talk it through. You know, the same thing with Hassan bringing on different kinds of people, although they're at higher levels and shit. But they've talked, you know, like fucking talking to XQC and shit. That guy's been in and out of controversies and done. Recently, he fucked up Aiden Ross. You know, he's not even necessarily an orbiter, but you kind of get what I mean. But in Vosh's specific circle, Vosh really does not share success downward in any way that's like notable to the people underneath him. And he'll talk about them while they're controversial, and then he never invites them to do anything or come on his show or talk about him or anything like that. And so they just float off into the ether and die. But his orbiters do demand that they pay fucking credence. So they always get put in a position where they have to defend Vosh on like lolly shit, defend Vosh on this, defend Vosh on that, or at least not bring it up negatively. And so like they're just permanently tarnished, and then they get left by the side of the road in the dirt, and he never raises a finger on their behalf. It's fucking awesome. Keffel's whined about it. The whole like Keffel's putting out and taking down and putting out and taking down like 3 fucking videos about Vosh during the folder incident is just one of the most legendary things that happened off screen, as far as I'm concerned, on the internet. If
the public internet space knows about it,
Vosh has literally said, I don't talk to orbiters.
You know? Like, it's just kind of...
That is so great. Vosh is psychotic, dude. He actually... I wouldn't be surprised. Just imagine building up a little council, a little bunch of people that like help you, and then you just turn your fucking back on them. That is so odd. He's such a piece of shit for that. Like, in an insane way. I never really paid attention to that part of the ecosphere until I started creating, and then I started to like really understand, because I started trying to like look at things that way. It's kind of like you don't really understand like basically how certain types of instruments work with each other until maybe you do like a little bit of audio mixing, and then you're like, oh, okay, I get why that's that loud, I get why that's that quiet, I get why that comes in when it comes in, that sort of stuff. And so when I started on my own experience, kind of like figuring out how these ecosystems work by listening to different creators and shit, I was just mind blown by like Vosh doesn't do shit for his supporters. Like, Vosh doesn't give a fuck about you if you do a nice thing for him. He doesn't care. Like, he will literally take money and ignore someone to death. If he does anything, it is immediately self-serving, and then he'll brag about it and then hand wave a leftist ideal like that. Brag about it, hand wave some leftist idealism, and then never bring it up again. I don't even know if he actually brought Xanderhal on during the DJ Mule thing. I think he just brought up, like, listened to DJ Mule and then said, like, this is bad, and it's bad, and it's bad, and it's bad, and then, like, went on to the next thing. Oh, man. Xanderhal stayed silent on the fucking folder thing was the smartest move of his career. I don't think so. It was a bad move. I think it was a stupid move. Xanderhal is stuck, I think, because he's a younger guy, and I think people have told him, and I've said this before. I think Xanderhal's chat's been poisonous as fuck to him, and it without reservation, I think his chat was poisonous as fuck, especially during the President Cum Day. Oh my god, 12-year-old bullshit. And they were leading him astray, seriously leading him astray. And I think a lot of them have put an idea into his mind that he cannot exist without Vosh or like that community. And if he goes against them, it will like permanently destroy him. You know what I mean? Like he won't have an identity outside of that. And maybe, you know, I'm mind reading. Literally no way for me to know this. It's just my impression. I have seen his chat has a lot of the same bad issues with it. I don't know about now. I'm talking about last time I was watching his stuff was in the November-ish, December, whatever the fuck. Xanderhal is in chat? My chat? Oh, sorry, Xan. Well, if you're here, I'm not trying to be mean to you, man. But I think he had a lot of negative people in chat, and I think maybe they got into his head. And I've heard this, like, said in other people's things before, like, you know, he doesn't have anything, he's a nobody without Vosh and blah blah blah. And I honestly, I don't believe that. I don't think that's the case at all. I think Xanderhal's a smart kid. I think he's extremely good at the few things that he does, and he just needs to take a position and move on it and start making stuff for himself in a way that really feels like he's pursuing a brand. I mean, if you want to start fucking like delving down into it, start like looking at symbolism and shit. Even Xanderhal's song, it's not the sex on my day is not just a sign, it's a target sign. Like even his song is kind of like reactionary to other people's like views of him kind of thing. And I feel like maybe not like a full rebranding, but just like a big centering and then flex and fucking move forward in a better direction, I think would be great. Like there's nothing about like I won't permit true Xanderhal slander. No Slanderhal in here, my friends. I won't permit it. I think the guy, he's especially because he's young, he has a lot of fucking room to grow. He can get better. You know what I mean? He could easily just start making better content. That's completely within his wheelhouse. I know he's doing the Let's Plays and stuff. I think the last few times I checked his stuff out, he was playing Fallout New Vegas, and I guess he plays like a shitload of Minecraft because that's like where he started. If you're gonna recenter and start there and then move out, that's what I would do. I think that's a good idea. So let me just say that. But if this is bad, I want to get into this.
The way the internet works, many people will actually act as though you committed a bad thing the day they learned that it happened, the day they learned that people have accused you of doing that bad thing. The internet.
Oh, he was in the chat of the DJ Mule video, but Vosh didn't bring him on to talk. Could you imagine? Could you imagine? Vosh brought me on to talk. Xanderhal's supposed to be one of his friends. He's going through it. Xanderhal was going through it. I got on to talk to him about his dumb fucking fashion takes before I got kicked off. He's going through it. They didn't bring him on. That's so fucked, dude. Like, all right, now thank you for commenting in chat. I'm going to continue watching someone's video about you. That's when he specifically said I don't bring on orbiters? No, you telling me I can't slander Xander? If you guys have opinions about him, you can. I'm not going to be protectionist about the kid. But I just think, I think Xanderhal is definitely in a position where he is not, he cannot not grow again. I know he's a grown ass man. Oh, he's 24. He's a grown up adult. He's a big boy. He's a big boy. He poops in the toilet. I know. I'm not excusing any bad behavior on his point. I'm just saying he's got plenty of time to reapproach content in a way that is positive. Yeah. If he's got bad stigma and people don't like him, if people don't like you and you, that's never going to change. People are just going to not like you on the internet. That's fine. You just have to try to make sure that the people that don't like you are the kind of people that you don't like. That's the win. You know what I mean? Even Tax Folder said no. That's why you truly messed up.
Very funny place. Frankly, the only thing you can do is just push forward. And so that's what I suggested whenever I covered this initially. Like, you should just keep on making content, keep pushing forward, ignore this as best you can. But if people aren't letting, like, if even people who support him aren't letting this just fall to the wayside and become part of the past, then I can see how that would frustrate him because he just doesn't want to think about it anymore. Regarding Maisie, I believe this was the first accuser. Or maybe I think Maisie might actually be,
I want to get to the lolly stuff because that.
I feel like these allegations from the start relied on the fact that people obviously find foot stuff weird and creepy, broadly speaking. I agree with that.
Okay, so that's not. I don't find foot stuff weird and creepy. I really don't. I don't care. Like, I don't care about people's paraphilias. You know what's unironically grosser? Unironically grosser in every context, and I think everyone will agree. Than feet stuff is coprophilia, which is the sexual act of imbibing waste products. We'll just leave it at that. All right, no one describe it. Gross. I have never experienced in my life anybody like aggressively pushing to see like oh hey, like do you mind if I sneak in your bathroom and fucking try to get the Hershey stains off the side of the fucking toilet? Like, I've never heard or experienced that. That's gross. And I just, like, they're fine. They can live. I don't give a fuck. I don't want to hear about it because it's nasty. But, like, the thing is with the foot people, and there's probably plenty of people that are into feet and they're not weird about it. But for me, it feels like a lot of the foot people have a different set of goals and they're surface level sex pests. And the foot thing is one of the easiest ways for them to publicly push their sexual interest in somebody in a way that's hard for that person to resist because, like, shoes, feet, clothing are such a natural part of day-to-day life, you know? Your feet are just there and shit. But, like, I said this on mine. It's not a problem. And this is a known thing on the internet to the point where I don't understand why, like, he's even trying to make this, like, it's a sex negativity thing. Also, he's the guy that's, like, the anti-gooner shit. So I better not hear any fucking anti-sex talk from you, sir, to cocaine. But, like, we were saying this in mine. I was listening to it again, and I still agree with my take. I like nice bodies on people. You know what I mean? Like a firm stomach, like a thick ass. It's not like a particularly deep fucking interest. You know what I mean? A pretty standard. I like in shape, fit bodies. Awesome. But I'm not trying to like. I don't write to people be like, wow, your t-shirt's really worn out. Can I get you a new t-shirt? Like, and it's like with everybody, like, I'm just constantly talking about like people's chests. All the time, you know what I mean? Like, I'll tell you first, like, yeah, I fucking love a good chest on anybody. Left, right, I don't give a fuck. Left, right, center, male, female, I don't mind. You know, but like, I'm not getting into the like it's not. I feel like it's just obviously not like a thing that I'm trying to like sexually transgress onto other people through discussions of their clothing in a way that is so surface level, topical, and obvious that when I describe it to other people, oblivious of the context, they're just like, yeah, it would be really weird for somebody to constantly write oddly, I'm jerking off behind my screen things about my fucking worn out shoes. And like, you just don't do it. Like, occasionally you buy like t-shirts for people because it's like the t-shirt is funny, but I never I'm not like your grandma, like, let me see you put it on. I want to make sure it fits. You know what I mean? Like, all right, let's go ahead and put it on. Send me a picture of you in it. Like, I've never done that. I have never even considered it. Never considered it. I'm 36. I have so many different friends from so many different backgrounds. People who have bought me shirts, people who have, like, just been in parts of my life at different levels of intimacy all through. And none of them have said stuff like that, because send me a picture of yourself is where we get to it, right? Send me a picture of you in the thing I got you is an intimate act. Send me a photograph of yourself is an intimate act. It just is. It is. If you were to do it to a child, think of it like this. Somebody that absolutely can't say no and someone that wouldn't that be also weird too? You'd be like, oh, okay. So like, what point does it become like a normal thing? When the intimacy of the act is completely established and understood by both participants in it. That's the answer, okay? That's why it would be weird for a kid. The kid can't consent to the intimacy of it. When it's someone else who doesn't understand the intimacy of the act because you're sidetracking their own sexual predilections, you're just like going in a different direction, then you are being a sex pest. It's like weird that you're doing something with someone else that you're basically trying to justify with a like fine print exemption in the law about how it's not sexually inappropriate because technically. I feel like if you get into that and it's something that you do repeatedly, where you constantly have to walk around like that scene from Transformers 3 where he's like, I brought the Romeo and Juliet laws with me. As you can see in the state of Texas, up to the age of 19, I can fuck your 16-year-old daughter bullshit. If you are constantly engaged in behavior like that to justify the behavior you're engaging in constantly with other people, you're fucking weird. I'm gonna cut out the middleman. You're being fucking weird. You're being fucking weird. You are being fucking weird. You're being fucking weird. You're sliding into people's DMs and talking about their shoes. It's fucking weird. There is no argument. Come. I demand, Chuggaconroy, come before the con. I demand your presence. Come before the con and know that you will be guaranteed safe passage until you sit at my feet. But I demand you explain yourself in full glory, in detail, lest you meet my fucking blade in the field. Come and explain it to me yourself. If you're a foot freak, I want you in here. I want to look you fucking eye to eye on camera. And I want you to explain to me how that's not fucking weird. How is it not fucking weird? Well, in situations where you're already like, blah, 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 blah. He's the one that engages. He drags her into it. Now what the fuck? Now she's like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. It's fucking weird. I won't permit anyone to take away from this conversation at all that it's a permissible thing to do. I don't give a fuck if somewhere deep in the fucking fine print around the weirdest shit I've ever heard, just understand I'm your bridge to normies, okay? I'm the closest maybe you'll ever get if you're out there and you're a weirdo feet freak. Let me just explain this. I don't fucking care. It's weird. If somebody who was friendly with my wife because they work together, you know what I mean? Like whatever, she takes like some side jobs here and there as a designer. If someone was just like, oh, hey, you got some worn out shoes. Can I send you some shoes? Can you show me a picture of them? I'd be like, hey, you guys stop talking to him because I'm going to find that guy. I'm going to put his head inside out with a baseball bat. like that's just how it is. Unless you're trying to grease the guy for shoes because you know about it. Like it's grimy. It's grimy fucking behavior, and it should not be permitted. And I refuse to allow anyone to walk away from this with the idea in their fucking head that they should reach out to someone they know and be like, oh man, I bet I can get some free foot pics if I start buying shoes for people like they're paraphilia prostitutes. You know? Hey, can I send you a pack of cigarettes and just like, could you just film you smoking all 20 of them in a row? Like, okay, what the fuck is going on here? Because it's clearly not altruism, right? I scrolled down in his fucking comment section. Even one of his people's like, man, I go through a lot of shoes in a year, and you know, it's kind of expensive. I might not turn him down. Like, yeah, you're going through the same mental fucking processes as women that are forced into prostitution because of their economic circumstances. Yeah, they too would consider getting fucked behind a goddamn dumpster because there is no social welfare net for buying baby formula. Yeah, it's the same fucking thing in a different context. It's grimy as shit and fucking weird. I will have this conversation with anyone. I will stand behind it. I really can't let it go because of just the thought. I just realized it really isn't in my hands, and it's outside of my purview of people that I can like reach and throttle into submission. Don't fucking think that anyone's defense of this is like going to save you from someone like me. And note the physical characteristic differences between me and Xanderhal. He or someone like him might listen and hear you out about how it's not weird. Someone like me, if they are not at the same intellectual level as I am, or they're just a little bit more upset, they will fucking beat you to death over this shit, and they will probably find justification for it in a court of law because you're being fucking weird. Don't do it. Do not slide into DMs and engage in intimate conversations with strangers in a professional context. Don't try to sneak your fucking paraphilia into other people's lives. Be hyper on the lookout. Hyper on the lookout that you're fucking weirding people out. And just talk to them. You know what I mean? Get the back the fuck up. But don't do it. If you have any concern that you're going to fucking that you're going to harm someone with your sexual predilections, keep them in your pocket. Everyone that's into picarism, which is the sexual practice of stabbing people and watching them bleed, stop. You don't get to fuck. Sorry, it's not for you. Maybe there's an online community where you can get together with people and enter into it through a site, through like, you know, and we all have our cards on the table about the blood play bullshit, sure, but don't be fucking weird, and don't think that if you're trying, don't get into fucking trust me, I'm justified. If she says no, fucking leave. If people are like as a friend means fucking back the fuck up, all right? In a general sense, a lot of fish in the sea. Just go somewhere else. Just leave. Motherfuck. Oh, just don't fetishize women. It's weird. Don't fetishize people in general. Just don't. Having fetishes is a thing that happens, and it's fine. It's fine. Understand that your fetish does not define whoever you are fetishizing, is I think even a better way to do it. And understand that if you have a predilection toward that and you're not keeping an eye on it, it can run away like a bull and destroy your life. You know what I mean? Yeah, cool. Do you date me though? Yes, informed, enthusiastic consent is required for kink. Don't try and weasel your kink into casual conversation without the knowledge of the other person. Yeah, it's such a basic thing. I feel it's just fine. That cigarette fetish is called being French. Of course, Sherlock Smug would know that. Oh, no, it's just a joke about being French. Never mind. I thought you actually knew the, like, paraphilia term for it. Oh, my God. So a dude sent a chick shoes and then asked for pics in them. Yeah, that's a little weird. It's one-way flirting. It really is. It's really, really strange.
And, like, just showing images of him being, like, flirtatious and engaging in, like, sexting, and she's reciprocating, and there is no evidence of her not doing so. God. She says, do your worst. He says, okay, fine, goes over and gives you a hug. She says, double exclamation point. I didn't expect this tactic, double exclamation point. He says, feels nice. Hugs you tighter, but not uncomfortably. She says, yeah.
Hold on a second. Did this dude do anything other than request feed pics? I mean, he did do a lot of other stuff apparently as well, which he cops to. So it's not like me. It's not allegedly. It's just he fucking described, and I'm repeating what he said. No, you can't just ask people for foot pics. That is actually weird. If you're into it, if you're in an intimate, you have to establish two-way intimate contact with somebody, a two-way level of intimacy in a relationship, right? And understand that that can always be ended, right? Like, I have a wife. We have an intimate relationship. We have an interpersonal relationship. We have a lot of different bonds that bring us together, you know? But before we knew each other, we were strangers. So, like, you know, the way that I approach and talk to my wife and stuff nowadays is going to be considerably different than the year before I met her, if I had, like, run across her. That kind of stuff. Establishing, you know, on top of, we had a professional relationship at first too, because we were coworkers, we sort of fell in love at work, that kind of thing, which I think is fine. It's not like we were bosses or anything. We both worked in completely different sections of a newspaper and were like on the same rank, just in two different places. That just happens. A whole different conversation. But like, we had a professional relationship, right? And then, you know, we kind of danced the dance and got closer and closer together, and then got to really know each other and stuff. But like, that professional relationship that existed, even though it progressed where it went, would not have justified me assuming the existence of intimacy between us before that had been enthusiastically, so to say, established between us, right? And having one-way desire for intimate contact with somebody, and them giving like that does not equate. It's a hard thing to learn. It's not like it just comes naturally to everybody. And some people have to be taught it, you know, over their lives. Like, it's not something that just appears in your fucking head one day, like, ah, shit, fucking blah, 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 blah. You might not even understand it. So if it's a thing that's confusing to you, don't try to argue it out. Let me just tell you right now, don't be the person that's trying to argue this with me at all, because even if you beat me, you are probably, if you fuck it up, not going to beat public opinion or the fucking criminal justice system, depending on how bad you fuck it up. I am not the one to rules lawyer when it comes to you being in, you are not necessarily the chatter, but you or anyone else being fucking sexually inappropriate with other people. Trying to sneak in intimate contact through something that somebody might not understand is natural groomer behavior. It's creepy. He literally groomed this chick into accepting his paraphilia. I know she's an adult, but that's still a literal thing you can do. Is get somebody basically unawares used to behavior that they don't understand is inappropriate. That's the point of grooming. That's why it's bad. Groomers against little kids groom them because they're not aware of certain types of inappropriate sexual behavior that is very obviously sexual to all adults. They want to get them used to untoward and unacceptable sexual contact with them in a way that the kid won't complain about or be upset about, not necessarily just for the sexual gratification of the groomer, although that's an aspect of it, but also for the power and the influence and the one-sided intimacy of the act, which is really where the gratification, the soul deep, so to say, gratification of the act occurs. That is the point of it. And so there are, and this is a known thing in and around paraphilias and kink communities, there are people who will try to groom otherwise consenting adults into sexual play that they're not comfortable with through groomer behavior, even though they're consenting adults. And it's an act of abuse. That's why it's child abuse. It's even worse, but it's still abuse as an adult, right? It might not fall within the purview of legal action that needs to occur in every case, but societally, it is a thing that we should name, identify, and shame to prevent it from happening for people. Because it's one of those things that's like not quite bad enough to justify dragging somebody out to the town square, hanging them upside down, and everyone whips him in the fucking head with a section of reed for an hour. You know what I mean? It's not in the fucking 10th century. But like, it should still be like, hey man, this was fucking weird. It was weird and gross that you did it. You should apologize. That's naming, identifying, and shaming. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. The thing is with Chuggaconroy is he wants to continue grooming people, literally. Like, he wants to continue this one-sided thing. He says he's done it with other people and it wasn't an issue. That's all laid out, literally laid out in this same thing that Xanderhal is reading. It's crazy if he doesn't arrive at the same conclusion I do. That's actually fucking bad, reputation-wise, I believe, for him. The issue isn't that it's illegal, because it is legal behavior. But, so is shitting your pants in an elevator and then hitting the, or not, that wouldn't be, but shitting your pants in the elevator and making everybody, smell your shit pants is, disgusting and profane. It's not probably specifically illegal, but it is something that somebody would probably have the right, if they figured out you did it on purpose, to beat the shit out of you. You would be hard pressed to fucking justify the jury being like, so you just actively started shitting your pants in elevators in order to make people fucking throw up? Yeah, I did that. Okay, you can't go to jail because it's literally not illegal, but it's so fucking disgusting. It falls under some sort of category of socially unacceptable behavior. Doesn't mean we need to make a law for it. You just need to fucking name it and shame it. Grooming people into if it's something this is a lightly sexual conversation, but something if you're into butt stuff, right? And you try to pressure your partner, or literally enthusiastic partner, you start pressuring him to that, or maybe they're really just not into this one type of act. I'll just divorce it from anything that you might have a preconception of. They're just not into one sort of act, and then you wear on them, and you talk about it, and they finally fucking accede to it against their better wishes. That's still grooming. That's what the grooming is. It's also why grooming isn't an actual illegal behavior. It's an indicator of the presence of actions that would constitute actual illegal behavior in certain situations. The grooming literally just means when you groom your hair, it's literally getting something ready, preparing something for an act. So sexually grooming somebody is literally preparing them, usually against their own will, for a sexual act. That's what that means. That's one of the reasons why the fucking groomer discourse, so to say, that's caused by that the right gets on about, is so bad. Not necessarily just because of the actual harm it causes the trans community, but because of the conflation of those definitions and people's understandings of it, prevent you from now having a good understanding of what the word means and why you need to be on the lookout for it and what is there to be looked out for. Because now there's a bunch of dumbasses that think that reading a book to a kid is grooming. You know what I mean? When actually it's all of these other much more obvious, much more maligned, and much more malicious behaviors that you actually need to be on the lookout for. No, I'm pretty sure that falls at least under public indecency. It could be, you know what I mean? But it's one of those things where it's not significantly underneath it. It's just, I'm using an excessive example. We're talking about the shit in your pants in an elevator type thing. There's certain aspects of it, but it would be hard to prove. That's the point of it, really, too. Is because you can hide the intentionality of the act. You would have to establish repeated patterns of it, which for some reason Chuggaconroy literally says, I have a repeated pattern of this behavior. I've admitted to it, and people have said that they've engaged in this repeated pattern of behavior with me. It's the most unfortunate court document ever. Look forward to the video coming out. But the thing is, I'm upset with Xanderhal doesn't seem to be able to catch on to any of this, which is
but also,
very
dang,
suspicious.
You got me. He says, yep, I got you. Hugs tighter. Now a little uncomfortable. I'm going to teach you a lesson. Sweeps your legs out from under you and... Sweeps your legs out from under you and lets go of you as I do. You fall to the floor. I grab into each of your shoes and yank them off, leaving you barefoot. I stand back across the room from you. Ow, gross. Does it hurt knowing that's what they really look like? No, you can't do this to me, she says, double and quadruple exclamation point. She is literally... Zan, please stop. Nope.
Toy Soldier, wait, hold on. I'll pause for this. Even though it's in the middle of a fucking segment. Hey, Tyler, found you after you got on Vosh's stream, and he was an idiot. You say you're leftist, but I can't really find your leftist views. Can you elaborate? The first thing you should do is watch any fucking videos. Just literally watch any of my fucking videos and see if you can figure it out. This is always, I stopped this because this is such an interesting question. This is a pretty standard purity testing shit, right? I asked him what his leftist views are, and he can't articulate any. The fact that you interrupted the segment after I just talked about enthusiastic consent for kink, to ask if I have any leftist views is pretty wild. I think that in there goes the women's sexual rights would go in there, also would go in there as well. LGBT sexual rights. So there, I think like that's sufficient. I don't know. Did you know you were going to sound stupid when you asked that fucking question in the middle of my goddamn segment, you little rat fuck? Also, I believe in workers' rights. I believe that all workers should have should get together, and if they are not given, they should be by force, if necessary, take the right to organize and demand equal treatment and access to the Earth's resources. There you go. That's about as leftist as it gets. I believe in fucking unionization by force if necessary. Must I go deeper? Is there a deeper leftist fucking argument? I believe in the international proletariat and the right of all workers to organize worldwide, regardless of whatever country's there. Then I believe that the health, safety, and rights of the workers supersede the health, rights, and safety of the nation itself. How about there? There you go. Tyler, I'm not purity testing at all. I'm sorry. That's a purity tested question. If you didn't know that, now you know. Don't ask questions like that in the middle of a fucking segment. I just saw you live and wanted to ask. That's kind of what you get while live streaming. Hey, hush. You should know what happens if you fucking interrupt somebody while they're mid-conversation. Something that must be addressed. I've watched hours of your videos already, but didn't encounter any politics mostly. Shut the fuck up. Are you stupid? What the fuck are you talking about? Hold on, that's actually a fascinating thing to say. Let's just see what my fucking let's see what my background looks like. Hold on a sec. I gotta fucking get these. This is the wrong one. It's the wrong one open. God damn it. Hold on. Hold the fucking phone. Hold the phone. I'm supposed to have my actual streaming thing open.
Hey everybody, it has been a long time.
Oh, come on. Well, he wasn't in a place where I needed to hear what he's saying anyway. So if I go to my channel, this is just a lie, by the way. Like, Toy Soldier, you're lying, and I know you are. Because that was just the stupidest. I don't know if you know that you sound as stupid as you do when you lie like that. Like, I don't know why you thought you could get it past anybody. My fucking viewers all know who I am. And I'm not big enough that I don't, like, know your name and I didn't recognize you. So, like, this has been embarrassing as fuck. Let me just, I'm so bad at this. Content, let's see. What's my content that's coming out? So you can't get my politics. You can't figure out my politics from my channel. These are just my videos. Champagne Socialist, Second Thought. Okay, that one's not out yet. So let's go. These aren't out. Hassan literally engaged in terrorism. That's going to be political as fuck, no matter what. Falling down the Grums, Rabbit Hole. Then there's one about Chuggaconroy. We have developing brain damage with What a Faultist. Talking about What a Faultist. Construction trades. Those are based. Shadiversity supports book burning. AI Carlin return to the grave. Reacting to Asmongold's most interesting video. If you're just looking at headlines, which, by the way, stupid, dumb motherfucker, moron. Literally, I don't even want you in my community. Too dumb to be here. You might not get it. This entire video is a joke video where I just talk about civics. This entire video is a 50-minute long civics lesson about how political structures are established legislatively in America. The Kanye West, the chicken restaurants, that's a fun one. Doritos, fun one. Vosh rant from this debate. Debating Vosh, talking about Amazing Atheist and AI, talking about Shadiversity, talking about Slugmageddon, Man in the High Castle, literal whole thing, me talking about fucking alt history. Does Destiny actually understand what war crimes are? Talking about Brianna Wu. Almost every single thing I talk about is political in some way, or directly related to the left-right dichotomy of the fucking the culture war in general. Like, do you need to have every bit of content spoon-fed to you? Did you think I wasn't gonna fucking pay attention to you? Did you think you weren't gonna get this? You're gonna get timed out for a day after this because I don't want to hear your fucking voice again. But you don't get banned. But, like, unironically, Unironically, like, how fucking stupid do you have to be to fucking ask a dumbass question like that? If I get into the fucking shorts or the live section, it just keeps going. Don't think that you can fucking sneak stuff past me, man. Don't think that you can. It's all talking about Shadiversity, Sargon, Shadiversity, Boogie, Aiden Ross. Like, bro, it's all people that are directly related to the fucking ongoing political conversations that are happening on YouTube. Like, you haven't watched the videos. You were either just at best, at fucking absolutely at best, searching through thumbnails, but you're so fucking stupid that you didn't have something spoon-fed to you that was as blatant as my specific politics are. I'm not running for office, dipshit. I don't have a fucking policy page. God damn. Ugh. I'm not watching your lives. They are so many hours long. You're not watching shit, dipshit. Fucking came in here to derail. Congratulations, you derailed. But so everybody knows. It'll happen again. Time out. 24 hours. Trying to get them clips, baby. Listing your catalog sounds like calling yourself out. I don't even know what that means. Tyler, I think you might be taking this a little too seriously, or personally, I should say. What? It's a question about me. I knew this stuff was going to happen because I released a Hassan video today, so I knew people were going to come in here. I'd talk to anybody. You know what I mean? But, like, that is a thing. That's a little fucking shitheel question that you have to fucking answer at least once or twice and fucking make an example of people. You have to do it. You know what I mean? That, like, clearly coming in the middle of a segment and trying to fucking ask derailing questions. Hit it once, hit it hard, answer it, and then fucking give them 24-minute timeout or 24-hour timeout.
They're forced to say who they meant, and then, like, from there, people pick everything apart, and, like, they aren't able to put together a coherent allegation, and then, like, the response comes out, and it usually falls apart, and then you get a bunch of dumb Republicans and conservatives yelling, "Me Too has gone too far." Hey, Jerry. Most good faith interpretation.
I was trying to roast you. My comment insinuated your videos are weird.
Know how to go about it, so it was mishandled. I could see that happening, but damn, like the playfulness at which she is like engaging with. Seriously, chat. Look. Do your worst. Okay, fine. Goes over and gives you a hug. I didn't expect.
There's the other thing is that, like, these aren't presented. Like, a bunch of these take place over, like, different days, if I remember correctly. Like, this shit is all spread out a bunch after the dude wore on her. It's very strange that fucking Xanderhal is taking this tack. I want to see the lolly shit, because this is the harder stuff. I thought Lady Emily was as bad as it would get. What's going on over here?
I'm going to rape you!
So stupid, old internet.
Old internet is mad dumb.
So stupid, old internet. Like, genuinely, old internet was just about, like, how funny yelling and peeking out old audio and video software and hardware was. Like, the fact that all video back then was deep fried meant that, like, angry yelling was extra funny. And so almost all memes and content back then were about angrily yelling the most vulgar thing you could possibly find.
True.
The meme deep frying was a thing naturally back then. Anyway. As for the pedo crush line, I don't even remember saying it. It was 14 years ago.
Okay, taking the stream off speaker. I had no idea I was going to skip to that part. My bad.
Probably a joke that was topical. Pedo Bear was an enormous...
The leftists defending Chugga are outing themselves to portray themselves as sex positive, but are really showing they don't know what consent is. Yes, it's a bad tack to make. I'm not gonna say like it's a deep like. I don't want to make the argument because this is a bad argument that like it is indicative of deep internal issues with consent or like stuff. Some people just don't really get it. And it does take like a lot of conversation, and the whole conversation around consent is currently poisoned right now by the much more surface level and louder issues of just women's fucking rights and shit, and like to even get to enthusiastic consent, you have to pass through sex positivity first, because all of the sex negative versions of leftism don't even believe in the possibility of consent, much less the presence of it. They consider all acts of sex in a patriotic, in a what do you call that? What do you call it? Patriarchy. All acts of sex within a patriarchal system to be acts of sexual violence. This is a theory firmly espoused by middle-class white women. With all due respect, what does that mean? I don't know. But bigotry of low expectations is what that argument is. So, like, it is, don't think that it's strange that people aren't arriving at, so to say, the correct standpoint on it. It is difficult to get to, because while it's obvious for you because you're there now, and like once you're there, it's like, okay, literally all of the puzzle pieces have fallen into place. It couldn't be anything else. For people that are approaching it, it's not always hyper intuitive that it makes as much sense. You know what I mean? Like, just a little bit of consent seems like it's enough consent, and that's where you get the like, well, she said yes, or like he said yes, but like blah, 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 da, da, da. And sometimes those questions are not meant to be disarming, like, hey, I'm actually innocent. Sometimes those questions are literally people trying to figure it out for the first time. The unfortunate thing is the people who are against that aspect will ask the same questions in a bad faith way. So a lot of it is trying to separate bad faith actors from good faith actors at the highest level of a conversation that is very difficult to have at all in the first place. You have to be a leftist to even believe in the possibility of enthusiastic consent. On the right, you can rape your wife. That's just, marital rape is not a crime in the eyes of many people in the conservative sphere, or it is not sufficient enough of a impingement on the freedoms of real people, so to say, that it should be something that anyone will expend political clout over illegalizing or enforcing. So like, that's the right side of things. Crazy. That's marrying off children. So you have to even just be on the left. You have to be a sex positive leftist. And after you're sex positive, then you need to understand the depths of consent and consent conversations between people, which are not the status quo for a lot of society. And so a lot of times when people are arriving there, you know, you find people when you get there who are correct, saying like, hey, you need to do all of these fucking things. And people have to look back at their past behavior and be like, what? I didn't realize I was doing anything wrong. And it's actually excusable in a way because they didn't. Did they do harm? Yes. Can you move past it? Also true. Do you have to make reparations? Who the fuck knows? That might be as far as the specific circumstances go. You know what I mean? Cop to it. Do what you need to mitigate the harm. And then, fuck, dude, if you fucked up your life, whatever. Just tell everyone else going down the line, like, hey, this is better. You know what I'm saying? And it's not on the people. I really don't believe that it's on the people who are saying, like, who are enthusiastically for enthusiastic consent. I don't believe in any way, shape, or form it's on y'all to be chiller about things, so to say, to make people more openly accepting of it. It is a perfectly reasonable reaction to, once you realize the importance of it, to go like, fuck, no, this actually, yeah, okay. It makes sense, and everything has suddenly clicked into place in a way that didn't make sense with all the other presented items now that I'm here. Holy fuck, yeah. You guys need to do this. Your enthusiasm for enthusiastic consent is fully justified, basically. Just please, as you're being enthusiastic, understand that you now, as the most correct actor, are going to have to help people who are in a good faith way approaching your standpoint separate themselves from bad faith actors, people like, I believe, Chuggaconroy, who are just trying to say, no, it's literally impossible. It's literally impossible for anyone to ever understand consent. I have a version of a brain ailment that is the most specific version of it ever that literally prevents me from understanding the nuances of consent. Therefore, the entire argument for enthusiastic consent shouldn't apply to me because it's somehow bigoted. Like, it's basically that's our use. You have to be able to separate those people and have the conversation at a level that's very, very difficult for other people to have it. To the point where some people surrender out of self-shame and guilt and just end up creeping rightward because they're like, well, over here, people aren't going to call me a bad person because of the bad thing I did. I can rest in a sense of blissful ignorance, so to say. Everything is through the lens of patriarchy. The rad femmes are correct on that. I'm not even going to have that conversation. I don't even know how to respond to that statement. I think this is fine.
Enormous meme at the time, and jokes dunking on pedophilia were just what internet humor was then. Lolly equals pedo is a common joke. Well, it's not a joke, it's real. And given her username, an easy one. I definitely learned a long time ago that these sorts of jokes aren't cool and could be hurtful to victims. Society moved on from this time many years ago, as I have too. You can see the difference between then and now just by looking at anything I type. Most of the rest of the chat is just boring talk about video games we like. Even given the time, if you still felt like that chat was getting out of hand, I agree with you. In fact, I agreed with that when I was 19. Lolly said she doesn't... Lolly... I hate that that's her name. Lolly said she doesn't know why our chats ended abruptly. I can tell you exactly why. It was because I disliked the direction of these chats and how young she was, and I've told her this numerous times. After a few conversations, I took a step back and realized this could not continue.
Hey man, Naseen, thank you for the $5. Hey man, I enjoy your stuff. I've learned a lot and I've dusted off my sketchbook because I'd like to participate in one of your contests. Thanks, man. If you want to learn more, there are currently contests ongoing on the Discord. Hop over to the Discord. Join the contests today. I'll be posting the rules soon. My back is made out of glass and has exploded in the last couple days, so although I seem pepped up and very happy to be here, trust me, I'm in an almost insane amount of pain and can't sit much longer than I do here.
Continue.
I fucked myself up yesterday streaming for too long.
Initiate raunchy topics with my 19-year-old self. I was oblivious at first, though it was funny shit posting. Thought it was funny shit posting, played off their behavior as a joke, and thought of them as a friend with a dirty sense of humor like many friends I had back then. That's plausible. That's definitely plausible. And here are the interactions.
This is the part I wanted to hear.
Now I'll possess you forever and talk to you and be all like, I see dead people and make you touch yourself in public. Insert evil laughter here. He says, why are all the things you do to me sexual? You really do want me? She says facepalm. I don't... dude, that's not a good thing to post, dog. That almost feels like he's...
Come on, Xanderhal, you're right there.
Flirtatious.
That's not almost. It's not almost, Xander. It's not almost. He is flirting back with a 14-year-old who is 5 years younger than him. He is 19, so he's basically a college freshman flirting with a high school freshman. Not the most egregious. And by the way, I said this, if you guys are covering this for the first time and you're here, it's not the most egregious shit. I have a, not necessarily, I would say a soft spot in my heart for, but a deep understanding for boys that are mentally immature and fucking up. That does not mean that they're not fucking up, that they shouldn't be corrected, that behavior shouldn't be outed, and that they shouldn't be, maybe even by the scruff of their neck, dragged into a better way of existing. But I will say, if you're like, if he was a guy who's just like, I just still identify with like high school kids because, I don't know, I'm fucking developmentally like set back from becoming the adult that I need to be. I don't think that makes that 19-year-old kid necessarily equivalent to, say, a 36-year-old. I'm my age. That kid would be literally, 22 years younger? God, Eric, to say 22 years younger than me, that is jail. Jail. You have to go hang out with the fucking chomos. I think for the case of like somebody like, you can correct that kid. You need to be dragging him away, maybe take him out behind this shed, give him his lumps, you know what I'm saying, and then sit him down, crack a beer, and be like, hey, son, look, you can't ever do that again, and you need to talk to women your own age. You know, we're gonna sit with you. We're gonna work this out, because I just don't think people should be discounted from participation in the rest of their fucking lives at 19 for a lot of the dumb shit that they do. Doesn't undo the damage, and you have to fix your shit. But, like, I will give him that. Like, I'm not going to say, like, oh, fuck, he crossed the black and white line of the blackest and white lines and should be dragged out into the street, shot, and fucking get the Makarov treatment against the brick wall, whatever. He doesn't deserve that. I know it's like adult men, whatever, at 18. The older I get, the more I see people underneath right around 21 to 22 to be kind of young. And if you don't agree with me, more than likely you're kind of young too. When you get to be my age, you'll really, the gradations between the ages become much more obvious, but also just a little bit more spread out. That said, everything after like 23 to 26-ish, everything after 25, like that's like, okay, you're an adult now. It's you have to get full repercussions. It doesn't mean that it's an excuse. It's not a boys will be boys type thing. It's just an understanding that people are still making teenager fuck ups even when they're not teenagers in a way that it should mitigate punishment. Is how to say it. It should mitigate punishment, not forego it. You know what I'm saying? Flippant CHF5? What the fuck? Oh wait, I know what these are. Those are those Swiss francs? Can't remember. Czechoslovakian francs, maybe? I don't know. Been enjoying your content a lot lately, so I checked out West by God and got it since it sounds interesting. Excited to start reading. Praise Gorpo. Thank you very much. But that's kind of my point on it. You know what I mean?
Like, that's not a line that he should have said.
He crossed a line, but not the line. Yeah, I think it's literally just you entered into the gray zone. Where at which point, you know, society's role in this is to get on the megaphone and tell you, like, literally stop and drop. Or stop and drop or we will fire. As opposed to the other guy who was just like, okay, that dude just gets cracked. You know what I mean? But I think there's a rise of sex negativity online right now, especially in the online left, that seems like it's being aimed in the direction of any perceived sexual impropriety, and then also any a general fear of being seen having engaged in any sense of sexual impropriety, as though there is an easy way to get to the bottom of these things. We forgot to have it last time, but should this have a content warning? I mean, if someone asked, probably, to a degree, this should probably have a segment content warning. I mean, we're talking about Chuggaconroy again. I should have put it up earlier. You are correct. You're correct. I should have had that up. If you see red, skip ahead. Thank you for reminding me. You guys can tell me that earlier. I'll stick that up. That's why I need to fucking pay attention. Swiss francs. That's sweet. Wait, I did say Swiss francs, didn't I? I can't remember. Fuck was I saying? There seems to be a rise of sex negativity coming from leftists that is being articulated as like a reasonable response to the, I don't know, the perceived excessive sexuality of internet spaces. But to me, I've already seen this before, and this was the same sort of mentality that led to liberal women, so to say, who are all upper middle class frumps in the 1990s, poo-pooing like pornography and shit as being like against women, and never really trying to, always being like 6 steps behind the actual problem. It was never like, we need to actively engage in these spaces where sex work is happening in order to make sex work more accommodating, in order to support the sex workers, in order to do this, that, and the other to make these workers, these women workers' lives better, these male workers' lives better, these trans workers' lives better. Just, this needs to end because as a woman, I feel like it just is not good for like the perception of women overall. And as like a frou-frou upper middle class, rich, whatever, upper class lady, I just can't even consider the possibility of someone working in sex work. And I find the men that engage with it disgusting. And so it's just this like upturned nose to an entire aspect of society that first off just doesn't go away. The only thing these women ever accomplished when they pitchforked and stuff, and a lot of them were leftists or liberals in the sense of liberalism, Democrat voters, so to say, today. The only thing they ever accomplish is changing industries to say that they had a victory in a way that fucks the industry up, doing things like requiring condoms in pornography, even though both of the actors don't necessarily need it or want it, or it'll actually make interactions more dangerous because of how it's going, just like forcing them to do that. Just as always per always, offsetting the mentalities and the disgust and the perception of things of rich people off onto the workers, and then forcing the workers themselves to come up with solutions to additional problems that solved other problems in the minds of the rich that the workers never even had in the first place. That is where these mentalities lead, right? I don't care to hear almost anything about like sexual addiction, porn addiction. I don't give a fuck. I just don't care. Go seek therapy. You know what I mean? Do you need a pornography turn-in station? Do we need to set up like the most non-damaging addiction I've ever heard of in my life? It's just like, what did you get chafed? What in the fuck? I'm talking to gambling addicts and heroin addicts who are being fucking destroyed by the opioid epidemic and the fucking economic epidemic of under and unemployment in America right now. I can't stop looking at porn because I'm dissatisfied with life is something that you solve with 50 other different fucking things that you can do, not eliminating people's access to pornography or finding yourself constantly in support of reactionary Christian policies against pornography. Well, I don't know. Maybe they've got a point. Maybe you're fucking stupid as shit. Did you just agree with the fucking Protestant League? Are you fucking out of your mind? If they say anything, just assume it's wrong off rip and figure out how you get to the bottom of it. I keep seeing these things pop up. I keep seeing them and I keep seeing them and I keep seeing them, and they're very suspicious and they're very dangerous to me. Yeah, how exactly are we supposed to get rid of sex work, LOL? Literally impossible. Sex work is just a different version of manual labor that men can do. My body is 6'4". I weigh 275 pounds. When I actually get my muscle mass to as dense and strong as it can get, I am more able to move shit. I can just move shit more than most people on the planet. It's a thing I can do. Is that the most skilled labor ever? No, but it's my literal body that I can sell. And people don't want to fuck that body, but they do want to use it to move shit in and out of their house or do other sorts of grunt labor. But I can sell my body because it's the one thing I always have. It's my literal labor. Women have bodies that a lot of people want to put their mouths on and touch. Trans women as well. And to a slightly lesser extent, statistically, men in different respects. And so people want to put their fucking bodies on your body because your body is something that they want from you, and you can sell it, and you always have it until you fucking die. It is the basis of labor, is literally selling the time that you spend in your body to somebody else. At its most basic and crucial aspect, and trying to divorce that from leftist policy is not just inherently anti-worker, it's inherently anti-reality. Like, yeah, dude, I'm not saying that I would not say a woman who is a prostitute and fucks for money has no ability to do anything else. The same way I wouldn't say somebody that's fucking working as a bricklayer's apprentice carrying around fucking bags of mortar, 80-pound bags of mortar and mixing them up every day is incapable of doing something else. They're selling their body, right? Hopefully on their way to do something else. It's not something you can do for the entirety. Your body's value is often dependent on the youth and it's not nubility. It's virility. You know what I mean? My fucking labor per hour was worth a lot more body labor when I was in the Marines than it is now because I just couldn't do a lot of that shit. But my brain is what I have to sell. It's just that once I put it out like that, what is the argument against it? Sometimes people get sick when they fuck for money. Sometimes people fucking die when they work for money. You know what I mean? When you put your fucking body to labor, people lose fingers. Their arms explode. I have permanent degenerative disc disorders in my spine because I sold my body for money to the government. I sold my body's time and my time I spent in it. The government didn't need my mind. The government didn't need my advanced skills. I was a fucking hooker, baby. I was a hooker with a gun. And if you don't start off with a respect for sex work, which is quite literally the oldest job. There was just a girl once upon a time. She's like, I don't like you, but I'll take a coconut. I'll take a coconut for a blowjob, baby. And fucking all respect to that chick. You know what I mean? I don't give a fuck. It's work. Sex work is work. In the most plain of terms, it's not something you have to say because you have to say it. It's just literally true. And if you don't base your understanding around workers' rights, around the fact that if you can't understand that sex workers are workers, I guarantee it. If I fucking push you, I'm going to find out a few seconds down the line that you don't think that fucking gas station attendants are workers, and that you don't think that janitors are really workers, and that you don't think that really fucking like immigrant fucking asparagus pickers and seasonal laborers are real workers. It's going to be, oh, well, it's just like factory guys and whatever my dad did for a job, and that's the depth I'm going to get to it. Fuck off.
I'm gonna be real. That doesn't come off good.
No, he comes off really bad.
Off good. 19-year-olds are stupid. That's true, but ooh, he should disengage. After a little while, things escalated or started to escalate, and they sent a sexually explicit gift to my house. It made me realize they weren't being silly. They were romantically interested in me, not the other way around. The whole thing... Oh, sorry, I'll go full screen now. The whole thing made me and my mother uncomfortable, and after deliberation, I not only rejected them, but cut all contact with them. I actually talk about this in the log they posted, and our contact becomes a lot less frequent after that. You can see after this point, we go long periods of time without talking, and I just tell her I'm busy or need to get going. I don't look exactly thrilled about this gift. We're just going to call her she. I'm sorry, but I hate saying her name. She says, "Ooh, you got it?" He says, "Was waiting for you." Well, sorry, my stalker senses aren't tingling. XD. He says, "My mom told me I'm not allowed."
Renee's a minute. Come at me, bro. I was born into the unions, literal unions who fought the army of Sweden. Fuck. How fucking who gives a fuck about the Swedish army? When the fuck was their last dub? Don't you guys? Doesn't the Swedish army protect the Pope? Sex work is exploitation is the word in proper English. Exploitation of women. All work is exploitation. That's what the word exploitation means. It's exploiting something, like literally using it for gain is exploitation. If a woman, like, if you all work under capitalism is exploitation, so like if you extrapolate it out, sure, but then everything means nothing, nothing means everything kind of stuff. It's just gibberish after a certain point. Also, what? Nah, just get rid of, I like this one. Hold on, where is it? Nah, just get rid of the buyers by the force of the law. Done. I know you're not that dumb. I've talked to you before. I know you're not stupid enough to think that you're the first one to ever suggest anti-John laws. You would be stunned to find out that type of legislation has been passed 5 million fucking times since the start of the world in almost every single continent and type of culture to some degree that's had a problem with prostitution has tried to pass. They're called anti-John laws. A John is a guy that buys a prostitute. In at least American and I think also English common slang, they don't work. It doesn't work. it's sex is a purchasable commodity. It's something that people want. And unless you provide, you're just literally going against economics, because there are guys that want sex. There are people that can give sex. And there is also a lack of resources that would require that undignified, so to say, exchange to occur. So, like, you have to arrive at a post-scarcity society before you arrive at a society that no longer has the existence of sex work. You just have to. Because otherwise you're trying to stand in the way of the economic impetus of selling sex, which is psychotic. Like the only reason you could ever be saying it is just because you have never done an inkling of research into the subject. Just never looked into it. Because you can just do a book report for me if you want and just look up anti-John laws. Just look them up and look how successful they were. Usually, if they had any modicum of success, it's from a place where it was like, actually 100% of all of the laws we've ever passed here have worked 100%, because you're in some totalitarian nightmare society. Or it's a place where they just changed all of the rules in the wording of stuff to massage the statistics into saying it worked. But like, the best you can ever do is just change how people do like little bits of business and stuff, and they work around it. Just trying to outlaw fucking prostitution in any way, shape, or form is insane. It is insane. And it only ever results in worse overall day-to-day existences for prostitutes. Every time. Sex workers agree. Sex workers can't unionize because their job's illegal. If you made their job legal and then illegalized the people who sell it to them, then the people who sell it to them would be under an impetus to keep their sale secret. And so they are the ones that now have a reason to maybe act out in violence to prove this, that, or the other. You know what I'm saying? It just doesn't work ever. It is literally impossible is all I have to say. And there's just so much fucking evidence to the contrary. You know what I mean? That there's no point to even bring it up. I actually had to good stunlock suggestion. More than likely also, I don't know if it's Sweden, more than likely if you guys have anywhere that you see where it's illegal and they're like, oh, we've permanently ended prostitution, it'll be a little fucking circle on the map, and then you find out every fucking inch of the border is more prostitutes than exist anywhere else. It's just like all the reservations in America that have tried to combat alcoholism with becoming dry, and then the area immediately off of the fucking reservation is just fucking like one liquor store that sells 1 million beers per year to like Pine Ridge and shit. It's abstinence policies against vice never work. It doesn't matter what the abstinence policy is. It just never works. Integrating vice and understanding that vice exists and integrating it into the natural legal system of your country will always be better for the people that participate in the vice, the people that will one day try to get out of the vice, and the people who are exploited, so to say, by the vice. There's places that have tried to outlaw, there are places that have tried to outlaw fighting. They've tried to outlaw fighting for money. You know, one of the most other ancient jobs, combat sports. And so, like, if you do combat sports, you have to permanently leave that country, or if you get injured doing it on the side because, like, whatever you pay to, people always will want to do it. It just becomes a part of the underground thing, and that's just something that people can do. Like, I just fight in combat sports. You're not even good at it. People don't get that much better, but then you still have combat sports, and it's still like this thing.
Had to wear the shirt though, dog. My mom told me I'm not allowed to wear the shirt. Like, that line goes crazy. I did not speak to this person for another 10 years. I had no intention of ever reestablishing contact. 10 years later, they approached me at a convention, and that was how we became friends again. I thought after that long, she was a new person and deserved a second chance. If you need more than just my word that it was joking around and I was the one who stopped it, here's proof. This is me telling the story to them in 2021 and their reaction to it. The ages are slightly off due to fuzzy memory, but this was the event that caused me to cut contact. He says, based on my past rejection of you, I don't think I have to justify that I wouldn't to you. Haha.
Tyler, you can call it the Swedish army for collaborating with Nazi Germany if you want. Well, there we go. Oh my god. Sweden's like the size of a postage stamp too, isn't it? You guys are just like, what, the Alps? And then you're next to like France and like the where I can never remember what the fuck. Sweden's just I always get Switzerland. This is Swiss. European map. Sweden's up, yeah, Sweden's a Nordic country. I'm thinking of Switzerland's what we're trying to talk about, right? Because I know Norway has legal prostitution, don't they? Norway, legal prostitution. It is illegal for Norwegian. Oh, no way. National/permanent residents to buy sexual services both in Norway and abroad. Buying sexual services is punishable by fines in prison. Buying sexual services from persons under the age of 18 is punishable by fines. The Swedish government adopts the first action plan for combating prostitution and human trafficking for sexual purposes. Like, human trafficking laws obviously are good. Sweden increases the maximum sentence for the purchase of sexual services from 6 months to 1 year after recommendations from the 2010 evaluation report. Okay. Switzerland. Okay, so where is it legal around Switzerland? Ooh, Switzerland. Human trafficking statistics. I bet they're high as fuck. The government decreased victim protection efforts. In 2022, cantonal authorities identified 38 victims under Article 182, a decrease compared to 62 in 2021, 53 in 2022, 2020, 83 in 2019, and 64 in 2018. The government reported identifying 11 labor trafficking victims and 27 sex trafficking victims. Oh, this is from the State Department. Let's see what's going on here. I just want to see this. The government of Switzerland does not fully meet the minimum standards for the elimination of trafficking, but is making significant efforts to do so. The government demonstrated overall increasing efforts compared with the previous reporting period, considering the impact of COVID-19. The government lacked consistent uniform victim identification and access to adequate care across the country, and it identified fewer victims in the reporting period. So you guys can't even take in statistics. You guys are fucking that up completely. Lenient sentencing resulting in the majority of traffickers receiving fully. Oh, so traffickers are fine. You don't sentence your traffickers enough. They get sentences of less than 1 year in prison. Not even just the Johns. Weaken deterrence. When is this from? This is 2023 trafficking in persons. Based on the data made available, the government awarded restitution to 1 victim during the reporting period. Prosecutions of labor traffickers remain low. Oh, this would be a different thing. This is what I covered, by the way. I did a massive series, so I know how to look this stuff up on human trafficking when I was in North Dakota. North Dakota had lower human trafficking numbers than Minnesota, which was right next door. Do you know why? Because in North Dakota, they didn't have good reporting standards. So North Dakota, there is no army in Ba Sing Se type shit. There was no sex trafficking problem in North Dakota. It was actually massive. But they only identified like 12 or 13 sex trafficking victims, where in the reality was there was something probably in estimates like ballparks of tens of thousands. You know what I'm saying? So like I would not tout Switzerland as being particularly, or Sweden as being particularly adept at anything. Thinking, what does it say? I don't believe in the happy hoe myth, okay, because I see women as people and people don't sell themselves like products. Oh, you hate women.
She says,
after all,
me?
sex workers aren't people.
Okay, I was going to save this story for when we were in a call, but I guess this is on topic, plus like it's been weeks. She says, oh God, what did I do? She says, so that shirt you sent me, my mom found that soon after I got it and asked me why the heck I had something like that.
Stop saying exploitment.
I told
it's
her
exploitation.
My friend blank sent it to me. She immediately goes, "This girl has a crush on you, no doubt about it." I go, "Oh, well, she's 14. I was 18 at the time." Well, apparently, he's wrong here. He was 19 at the time, according to his document. But he says here that he was 18. His mom told him that he can't associate with them and that it was dangerous, so that he'd better keep his distance. As much as I like spending time with you, I chose to slowly fade out and hope you'd find someone else. That's why I fell out of your life for a few years. She says, "Oh, that makes sense. I was gonna say I would never have told you I had a crush on you. Ha ha ha. I was big chicken." He said, "I knew, at least I was pretty sure."
I knew I would say, I thought I would say, you know, like the old school 90s, like frou-frou. I think it's just horrible what these people go through. looking down with like a flour-filled napkin at the pores. Oh my God, they live like animals. Oh. They were trying to improve the conditions that like create the problem, just saying like, the best thing we can do is make their lives harder with additional laws. Yeah, the place with all the secret money, the place with all the fucking secret money and shit. You know what I mean? And like, of course you have fucking trafficking problems in fucking Sweden. I'm not surprised at all. Got the fucking Ayatollahs coming up there with their fucking Nigerian slaves.
Sure of it. Once my mom said that, I sort of analyzed a lot of things you'd said and done. It made a lot more sense after that. Dog.
I know which one. I probably am saying them mixed up. Sweden up north, Switzerland down south. Right? Switzerland based. Swiss. Sweden not based. Sweden. Svenstigeers. Oh man. You collaborators. You fucking collaborators. You can't help yourself. Sweden isn't Switzerland, Tyler. I know. I don't know why my brain, the Swiss, the Swedes, it just like there's something about the Swiss that like I lose something in those words.
Was just like an autistic 19-year-old and some 14-year-old girl who just like was a fan of his like passion project gaming content. Like
Switzerland's with the money. Okay, Swiss banks. Sweden doesn't have any banks. Sweden, what the fuck is good with Sweden? What, they just have public transportation? Doesn't Sweden have maybe I'm not thinking of Sweden. Don't they have the thing? Corantos? Not that. Isn't the big meeting with all the fucking spookies, creepos in Sweden? Maybe it is in the Swiss Alps. Sweden is a bunch of broke boys. Sweden got no money. Switzerland held Nazi gold during World War II? You mean they held Jewish gold? Switzerland is neutral. Sweden is the golden one? Okay. So they're all collaborators is what you're saying. Davos is in Switzerland? Okay. They're all collaborators. Switzerland just got the better deal of it, and now they've got hookers. So literally what you're saying is Switzerland is just Sweden, but with blackjack and hookers. Okay, sorry. We clarified. My bad.
Them and would just be raunchy, so he interpreted it as like, another one of my raunchy friends. And then like eventually he figures out that she has a crush on him because she sends a shirt to his house, and his mom's like, "This girl likes you," and he's like, "Oh, well, she's 14," and she's like, "Oh,
yes,
you need
Futurama
to not talk
reference.
to this girl then." And then like,
oh, hold on, I gotta listen to this.
Yeah, this literally confirms his story here. These messages where he tells this story, by the way, are from 2021. He literally confirms his story here. These messages where he tells this story, by the way, are from 2021. He cut contact. Once he realized that, like, this was an underage person who had interest in him, he just cut contact.
No, he didn't.
Of his own volition. At 19, he made that decision.
No, he didn't.
So that's a good sign of, good character.
No.
I like how these accusations.
No. Breaking Bad. Xanderhal! Xanderhal, no! He did it. If you read the logs, he says he broke off contact, but even she doesn't remember it being like that. She says he just stopped talking to her. And what we find out is that his mom said he can't talk to her anymore. Literally, his response to her as a child when we're back in time is just, my mom found the t-shirt you gave me. We can't talk anymore. You know what I mean? And then even like, I think even in the other thing, he's just like, yeah, well, my mom found the t-shirt. And like, that's it. There is no, we went over this, and you can just watch my other video. I went over this extensively, and I went back and forth over those notes again and again and again. He never says, I want to break things off. And he blames his mom. He just says, my mom found it, right? And she won't let me wear it. He doesn't even say, like, I can't talk to you anymore. And I think even in the 2021, when he's talking to her, he's like, yeah, well, my mom found out, and so she made me, like, break it off with you, basically. And then they restart, which is just one of the most classic things. Like, a lot of grooming victims end up stuck kind of in this, like, constant parasocial relationship, literally, with their abusers. Like, a lot of times, like, abuse victims will get brain fucked into going back to their abusers again and again and again and again, because it's a known quantity. And there's like a lot of psychological that you have to get. This is out of my knowledge base, so to say. But if you get into people that talk about abuse recovery and deprogramming and people that work with, especially like sex trafficking victims and abuse victims, they will tell you abuse victims have a very difficult time separating themselves from their abusers. Much more difficult than just people that are in a normal consenting relationship breaking up. And it can be extremely one-sided, and it can be to the point where the person's like, no, I need to help them, blah, 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 blah. This isn't something that is like naturally intuitive, because you would assume something that bad is happening is something's bad happening to somebody, right? They would want to get away from it. Don't think of it as like a sane act that's being perpetrated by someone who is, like cogently thinking about the situation. Like, if you're a victim of grooming, you've been groomed. That's the point of the grooming, is to establish your identity as a cohesive secret, basically, that's held between you and another person. If you want one that you'll probably agree with me on, and then you can maybe see the back, like the commonalities between it. Look at the Nickelodeon documentary when you have these people who are like grooming these literal children into sex acts. It is a lot of trust and secrets, and like, hey, we're doing secret things together. We are confidants in each other. It's us against the world. It won't all be sexual all the time, but it's always all about the sex. It's becoming best friends. You can tell me anything. And as a matter of fact, I want you to tell me everything. I want to know everything about you. I want to know what your fears are and your hopes are and shit. And I'm going to use every little aspect of that to make sure that you can't ever get more than a fucking inch away from my control. That's why fucking Chuggaconroy, it screams, it's so obvious to me. He never said I wanted to break things up with you. And the second he could fucking start him up again, when she found him, he fucking started up and he went right back to where he was. He got back into the fucking sexual role play almost instantaneously. And like, he is just, clearly that's one of his sexual habits, is sexual role play. Like, the story as described, literally as I'm fucking looking at it, just makes so much goddamn sense. Flip it.
Hope you enjoyed your time on the Westside.